Hey everybody, welcome back to Life is Feudal. The sun has come up. In fact, it's kind of getting close to noon, and I've got a good amount of work done here. You can see very easily the defined edge here of the area we've raised up, and I continued bringing the logs over so I could really make that stand out. I also dug down here so you can see it's now actually above our head level from down here, and you can run up here and you could jump over the log. You can get up. But that's cool. I just really wanted to make this stand out, and I think it looks pretty good right now. I will go all the way around to the wood, probably over to this point, and on the other side too we'll come in a little bit, and yeah, we'll be just about ready. We'll have everything down and ready to put a house here. In the background you can see they progressed pretty well with the wall down there in town. Some of them running around back there doing some finishing touches, I'm sure, on the wall. Not really finishing touches. They have a long ways to go. They have basically that whole other side to bring the wall down. But that's kind of a big priority for them. In fact, between the trees here, you can see they've got the wood part of the wall that's going to actually go along the earth part that they've kind of built up, essentially. So that's going to look really, really cool when it's done. Especially once they get the gate in there and they bring the road out connecting to the road that goes out to the beach. That's going to be pretty cool. Now, what I did yesterday, kind of during the night actually, was I placed down this sign. Now, whenever you build anything on the ground, you actually just hammer down a sign indicating what's going to be built there. And I'm actually ready to do this. I gathered up some material. So nearby there's a clay deposit. I went over there and grabbed a bunch of that. But anyway, when you hammer the sign down, you can basically walk up to it, right click and hit create, and it shows you what you need. So if I bring this over, you can see that everything we need I've actually put in the middle here. So we can just drag this in, set this stuff in here. And I can hit build. I have not done this, but what I was told was that you can hit build and it basically puts the items in so that you don't have to carry everything around necessarily. You can put it in and it's kind of like being partway done, essentially. So let's see. Let's go ahead and take out, we'll set this to 100, get exactly what we need. And do that. So that should do it. Again, I've never done anything like this though, so let's go ahead and hit build. Looks like we're going to hammer it with our fist. That's how strong we are. I'm just going to make a fist and hammer this thing together. So we're going to get this guy set up, get the furnace set up, and then we want to be building up my skill here, the construction, materials, preparation. And we've got a couple things that we can make with that to bring the skill up. Right now, again, if I bring it up, you can see we are at exactly 0 on that skill. So I have a ways to go. So there you have it. We have our furnace down. It actually took us a couple attempts. It went all the way out, filled the bar up, and then stopped and had to start again. It showed that it used a lot of the materials, but not all of it. So we had to kind of walk through the process again. But on the bottom right, you can see that our construction materials preparation has increased. We're now at 8.86, which is cool. So we could continue to make furnaces. That material that I gathered, really, it didn't take much to get that stuff together. But for now, we're going to kind of stick with this one. Let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see if I hit this guy. At least I thought I could. Can't do anything with that object. Now, this might be because I don't have the tool that I need, but this is all stuff that I'm really unfamiliar with. This is the same message I got trying to use other people's furnaces, and I just thought that it was because they made it. But anyway, we have the furnace down, and that's really not the big priority right now. The big priority is getting our construction materials preparation skill up. So check this view out. This is the view from, let's see, what would this be? The north? Where are we at? Yeah, it's kind of north of the camp, a bit northwest. So my place is basically along this tree line and to the left slightly back there. And I've come over here because I am, again, we're trying to build up the construction material preparation. You can see down there on the right in the system window that I have increased it a bit. And I asked the guys down here, I asked Ghost if he had any rocks that I could shape, because that's what would help me skill up. And of course he reminded me that there's a lot above the mine. They've basically been dumping rocks up here, and there's a cave down below. So basically I can just walk right up here, can select on this and lower the ground, as I did just a minute ago. And we're going to scoop up some rocks. Now I have 10 here, and this is going to scoop up 30 rock. Let's see if we give that a second. So I added it there. Now we have 40. Now what I can do is I can jump in here, right click on my pickaxe, choose shape, and go to shape rock, and there you go. It takes 20, I've got 40, so I can make 2 of these. You can see it doesn't take very long to make these. It goes through, and if we watch the bottom right, we've now jumped up to 18.14. It's skilled up. Now, it looks like it only did it the once, but that's okay. We have to hit the craft again. That looks like is the deal. Try it again, Weem. I thought I was going to craft both of them. And there we go. We went from 18.14 to 23.22. Now it'll go through and tell me that I can't. Yeah, I have nothing there. No inventory to do anymore. But that's what we're going to do. I'm basically going to grab a bunch of this rock, shape it to build up my skill, and then as we get that higher, as I select on this, we get to 30, we can make basic clay objects, and at 60 we can shape rock for different stone. Now we need it at 60, if I looked at the information correctly online earlier, we need 60 in order to build the house, but we're actually pretty close. I think, you know, it's not just from 60, you can see we scale up pretty quickly here. But the materials required are really not that tough, especially for a logger like myself. You can see the logging skills 82. It requires some boards, so we're going to have to cut those using the carpentry, but those are skills that we are doing quite decently on. Okay, so back at the pad, we've actually got our skill up pretty well. I was over there shaping rocks for a bit, and so you can see we have our construction materials preparation, or CMP as I'll call it. We have that now raised up to 71. Excuse me. So we have that at a perfect level. We only needed it to 60 in order to at least get the house kind of set. So let's do that. We don't have the materials yet. I looked into the 2 basic home styles that we can actually do. And again, we don't have the materials just yet. But let's see. We're going to come down here and hit create. And you can see we have a tiny shack or a plaster tiny shack. Now I think either one of these is not too difficult to get the materials for. It'll take just a little bit of time and they vary a little bit, but let's go with the plaster tiny shack. That's what everybody's doing over in town. So let's go ahead and set that here. Okay, so now you see we have to move this guy around and find its 4x4 grid, which should work right there. Now, I was thinking that this might actually count. Let's see if it actually goes off the edge. It does, but I think this square that I'm standing on right here, we leveled this. So while half of it does seem to slope, I think it's supposed to count. But having said that, I'm not really into that look. I guess we could raise the terrain next to it. Not really sure I'm into the sticks going off the edge like that. So let's see. Whoops, I'm gonna need to hit tab again before I try to spin everything around. So our other option is to do it right here in the center. I was hoping to have some space off to the side, but again, we could raise the terrain over here so we have some room to kind of work next to it. I suppose this isn't a big deal. The other thing we could also do is we could level out or kind of lower down some of the terrain out here. Or we could do a combo of both. We could actually lower this down and then use it to raise this side up. So maybe that's what we'll go ahead and do. We're going to hit build here, and we are once again going to hammer with our fist. This is simply going to put down the sign, as far as I know anyway. It should just put down the sign because then it's going to require the materials. I think for a house it does the same kind of sign as the furnace. Okay, all cells should be flattened to begin construction here. That's interesting. I had this all set. We're going to double check real quick. Terraforming. They said you had to have a 4x4 area, all of the same height. Okay, well I now know what we were missing. We literally have to flatten it. There's an action involved here. You can actually select your square. If I move over here, go to terraforming, and there is a flatten ground. Now I've already done it on this square, and in fact if we jump into observe, it even changes the tiles. So you can see these two are done already. So this is an action we have to apply. It doesn't help just to have them all the same elevation. You must flatten them. So anyway, it's easy enough to do. We're gonna go here and select flatten ground, and you'll see him conduct a shoveling action. So I just need to go around here really quick and make sure this is all flattened, quote unquote. And there we go. We've got our 4x4 area actually flattened out. So we should be able to get the house down now. Let's go ahead and jump out of here, step in, and get this thing going. Go down and select our shack. Let's back out of here real quick. And we do want the door facing the back, so that's cool. We want that up front, and we want this guy right there. And look at that. It is all green and ready to go. So we're going to pound the sign in with our fist once again, or at least attempt to, and then we'll get to see what material we need to make this guy. Alrighty, check that out. We have a frame here, some wood laid down. So let's see, we can right click this, there we go. And let's go to, so we could deconstruct or we could do create, which is the default. Let's check it out. So in this one, we actually need 5 building logs and 150 clay. And you know what? That's not going to be too difficult to get. The clay is actually nearby. We'll have to chop down a tree or two or use the logs that are already here. We'll use the saw to cut those up. But we will do that next time and we'll get this thing built. I hope you guys stop back in and follow along once again. I appreciate having you guys, and maybe we'll have a house done by the next episode. Wouldn't that be crazy? Thanks again for stopping in, everybody. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.